Hi, I'm Bridget and I am becoming. Y'all, I have a quick impartation for you and then I am on my way back to work. So today we had a round table discussion with one of the school's partners. And so I was the representative today. And so I really wasn't excited to go to this thing because I was just like, they just want to promote product and they just like, you know how it is, like when you have product round tables, it's mostly about the brand, the product, the da 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 da, sale, this. And so I wasn't really excited to go have this conversation today. And I have my iPad because I wrote it down because I don't want to miss out anything. Okay. So anyway, I was at this round table today, and so I really wasn't anticipating for it, but it wound up being a really amazing conversation. It was a lot of things that God was showing me and a lot of things that he was telling me and a lot of things that he was depositing for the future that I needed to hear in that moment. Okay. So when I first got in, I really felt really intimidated because the brand that was there was also kind of like a really not brand, the other school that was there was also a really big school. And so I just was like, ugh. We're tiny, but we're mighty kind of thing. And so I felt a little intimidated because they were dominating the conversation. They had so much more to offer. They have way more experience than we do. So of course I started to shrink back because I was like, oh my God, what can I possibly say? What can I possibly offer? And so our actual rep was like, I really want to hear your feedback on this. I really want you to talk to us about this. So I was like, okay. So she kind of brought the circle back and she asked me the question. And then I just started having this conversation. They just was like, oh my God. And they was like, well, how do you do this? And then they started talking about retail. And I started talking about how do I teach retail and all this other stuff. And I started talking about the programs and the projects that I created out of my own mind and how I prayed about them and allowed God to lead me and all this other stuff. And so these people were so intrigued to the point to where the other girl was like, I need to see this. I need to see these projects that you created. I need to see these things. And in that moment, there were two things that God showed me. One, that I am supposed to be there. Right. And the second thing that he showed me is that I have something meaningful to contribute. And a lot of times we go into these spaces, these rooms that we are offered to go into, and we feel like we don't have anything to offer. Most definitely when we're in a room full of other successful people, we feel like we have absolutely nothing to contribute. But God says that he opens these doors for you so that you can give them what you have. Just like Esther. When Esther went into the palace, she absolutely didn't have no idea how she was going to bring value to the king. Okay. He already had a lot of stuff going on. He also already had a lot of wives. We don't talk about that enough, but he also had a lot going on. What more could she offer? Right. And then when she kept being pushed, held accountable, okay, because that's our word this week. When she was being held accountable by her uncle, she realized that she is created for such a time as this. And we have to remember that God has literally placed us into these rooms because we have absolutely something through our Godhead, our God mind, our spirit-led mind that God wants us to give to the people. Okay. He wants us to bring these ideas to life. Okay. And that's even no matter what the aspect is, whether it's politics, whether it's education, or whether it's just, basic work, 9-to-5 work world. God has literally placed you inside of these rooms because he wants you to make an impact. So I pray that this blesses you because, and this is the big part, stop shrinking. Okay, you need to stop shrinking back and trust that the doors that God has opened to you is that he opened them so that he allowed you to go through that door. Okay, because there are some doors that you cannot access because of what it's an array of reasons, but we're not going to get into that. But those are things that he allowed you to enter to so that you again can make a difference. Okay, and that he wants you to enter them. Okay, so we need to give God thanks, glory, and honor. Okay, so that's all that I have for you today. I pray that this impartation begins to continue to do a big work in you because, again, you are called to be here for such a time as this. Make sure that you are not shrinking back and make sure that you are giving them what God has placed in your heart to say and to do for the people in the room that he offered you to go into. Okay, so my name is Bridget and I am becoming. If I can finish this.